What's going on, man? Welcome to the Sports Rant Grant podcast. I am your host, Sports Rant Grant, and welcome to the show, yeah, man. Uh, Today, y'all, we got to talk about these Saints. We got to talk about these Saints. We got to talk about Tyler Shough's first start. We got to talk about the state of these Saints right now, man. So first off, we all know we got our butts kicked by the Los Angeles Rams. Um, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close, man. And we also got our first start from Tyler Shough. And I kind of want to talk about that first, man. So 176 yards passing. In basically one quarter of football, time wise. Um, One touchdown, one pick. Now, the accuracy wasn't there. Let's keep it real. The accuracy wasn't there for Tyler Shough this game, and I think that's gonna take some just getting used to the game speed and the players, because he has not been practicing with the ones since preseason. Um, y'all, I'm not gonna absolve Shough here. He didn't look good. He didn't look good. Um, can I say that he's better than Rattler? No, I cannot say that right now. I don't think we've seen enough to even be able to say that he's better than Rattler. So we still got some some watching to do. You hear me? But I don't think he had a bad game. Rattler fans are gonna say Rattler's better. Rattler's played 15 games in the NFL. Shough has played essentially one. So a lot of people gonna say Rattler better, and a lot of people just gonna be blind eyed to the fact that Shough didn't look that good. Um, However, I think the biggest thing here is Shough didn't look no worse than Rattler. Um, and I think that's a big deal because again, Rattler has had 15 games in the league. Shough has had one. He didn't look no worse. He didn't look better, but he didn't look worse. So we could say that even though Shough is 26 years old and probably the oldest rookie quarterback in the league, I'm pretty sure it's the oldest rookie quarterback in the league. Um, that doesn't mean that he's played on this level. So regardless of how old he is and how people are saying that he should be polished, no, he's never played on this level. He's still a baby here in the NFL. So we can't just say he should be better than that. And we've seen Rattler for 15 games and he ain't no better. So I think personally, in my opinion, the upside goes to Shough. Um, because shit, he's been in the league a lot less time and he looked about the same. Um, there is one uh particular stat that I think Tyler Shough was better. Um, and that was yards after catch, man. Yards after catch, in my opinion, it's all about ball placement. Um, and I think he did that a little better than Rattler has been doing all season in this game. If you look at the yards after catch, we had 18 yards after catch, and I know that don't sound like much, but when you realize that we were only averaging 4.5 yards after catch, it says a lot. It's a big deal. Um, and that comes from ball placement. So yeah, maybe Shough wasn't that accurate, but more accurate. But when he was putting the ball where our receivers could make plays. Um, and honestly, y'all, I didn't watch the game because I was working. Um, but shout out to Trizzy Trace over at Chess Now Sports. Uh, because he keeps me updated on them play by play. So shout out to him over there. Um, but yeah, man, I think Shough is good going forward. Um, I don't believe that he's going to be able to prove that he can be a number one starter in the league. I just don't think he has the talent. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because we could definitely use a number one pick on something other than a quarterback, and we could definitely not have to go and look possibly for a free agent quarterback, a backup quarterback on somebody else's team who we'll be bringing in. So I hope Shough does better. I just being real, I just don't think he will do much better than Rattler was doing. Um, but so far, to me, it's looking up, in my opinion. And the next thing I want to talk about is Kellen Moore. Y'all, we got to, at this point, start questioning Kellen Moore's ability to coach this football team. Now, we know he's a first-year coach, and we knew the Saints wasn't going to be no playoff team this year, in my opinion. We also didn't think that we would be 1-8 right now. So something's wrong. Something's wrong. Y'all, I want to take y'all back to 2022. We were 7-9, and on the last day of the season, we won our game to get us in the playoffs. But I think Green Bay or somebody else won, and they ended up going instead of us. We were one game out of the playoffs. We were 7-9. 2023, we were 9-8. And the same shit happened when we were one game out of the playoffs. Now, mind you, the Saints haven't made any big splashes, any big changes to this roster in the last 3-4 years. So 2024, we win 5 games. And I would mainly blame that on the fact that Derek Carr was hurt after the first 2 games. He played, I think, another couple games before he finally went out, and he was out 6 games. So he was hurt probably 8 or 9 games of the season. And this same roster, pretty much, still won 5 games. And I would beg that it would have probably been more had we had Derek Carr all season. We still might have would have won 8 or 9 games last season. So to be 1-8 with basically a quarterback change and a coaching change is pretty much all we've done. Seems to me to lead to the coach and the quarterback is where the problem's at. You know, because we should easily have won at least 3 or 4 games, you know, especially in some of those close games where we just didn't play good. You know, we didn't have good offensive play. And this is on Kellen Moore and the quarterback. And even more so to me on Kellen Moore, because a lot of us feel like he not calling good plays. You know, the defense is not calling good plays. This is mostly, to me, on the coaches right now being the reason why we 1-8. You know, I did question Moore's pick of Shough, you know, so I'm kind of excited to see, you know, what he actually saw in it. I ain't seen nothing in him yet, but we got to start questioning Kellen Moore right now, you know. This team, in my opinion, has gotten kind of progressively worse the last few games. Alvin Kamara is by far one of the biggest problems on this team right now. We seem to stick with him at running. I'm sorry, y'all. Alvin Kamara has never been a great running back when it comes to running the ball. I don't think he's ever had 1,000-yard rushing season. Now he's a good, you know, dual threat back, if you want to call it, like a scat back or something like that. He reminds me of a Ricky Waters or something like that. But as far as 3-down running back, Kamara ain't it. He has not been it. He wasn't that when he first came. He wasn't that. He had Mark Ingram. to help him out. And it just seems like Moore don't want to use none of the other running backs. Like, we had Devin Neal, we had Kendra. He barely used Kendra. He would never use Devin Neal. Now that Kendra's out, he still don't want to use Devin Neal. Well, I'm not understanding this. Like, it's just not looking good in this first year in New Orleans for Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, or anybody on that coaching staff right now, because every phase of our team is getting beaten. And to say that this team was a fringe playoff team for the last 2 or 3 years, to now be 1-8 with basically just a coaching change and a quarterback change, something is definitely wrong higher up in New Orleans. I want to talk about going forward into the draft, because a lot of people saying we should draft a playmaker, or we should draft a defensive end, or y'all, we definitely need a quarterback. I'm not saying go and spend a first round draft pick on a quarterback. But we got to have something than Spencer Rattler and what it's looking like so far, Tyler Shough, in order for Kellen Moore to win with this team. Now, like I said, I don't believe that you have to go in the draft and get that quarterback and take a risk, because I think it's a couple of backup quarterbacks that could be available that could come and shine in New Orleans and do much better than Rattler or Shough. I mean, Mac Jones is looking good right now. I mean, it's 3 or 4 of them, and I can't think of the names right now. I don't use script. I just come on here and do it. So I don't always have the names right. I don't always have the facts right, man. Because I don't write them down, man. I just get on here and I speak my truth. So I don't believe that going in the draft and getting a quarterback, especially this year when it don't seem like there are any really, really strong quarterbacks in this draft. You can talk about Mendoza. I mean, okay, but it don't mean nothing to me until he get into this league over here, because we've seen great college players turn into terrible football players, especially at the quarterback position. So that don't mean nothing to me about what he doing this year. We need to see, get somebody who can do something next year. And it's going to be a long road if we don't find a quarterback. Quarterbacks, in my opinion, run the team. They give both sides of the ball spark if they're playing well. And they also attract free agents to your team. Could we get Devontae Adams if we had Aaron Rodgers? Probably, But Devontae ain't come and play with no Spencer Rattler or no Tyler Shough. You understand what I'm saying? So I think quarterback, regardless of all the other pieces that everybody say is terrible and trash and this and that, I think quarterback should be your number one focus, because quarterback can open up other things, like getting decent free agents to come to New Orleans, something that we have never been able to do in the history of New Orleans. You can say what you want about Drew Brees, but Drew Brees himself will tell you he would have went to Miami if them doctors would have cleared him to play in Miami. They didn't clear him. That's how we end up with Drew Brees. He was not going to come to New Orleans. We was just his last line. So that's part of the reason that we need to get somebody in house that somebody gonna want to come play with. Get somebody in house that somebody want to come play with, because I can guarantee you, even the Pelicans have hard times of getting free agents to come play in New Orleans. Something about New Orleans that people don't like living there. People like visiting there, but a lot of people don't like want to come and live there, especially when you are a millionaire, rich person. So and that ain't nothing against New Orleans. I'm just speaking my truth, man. I'm just speaking my truth. I'm from Baton Rouge. You know, I love New Orleans, but I'm speaking my truth right now. So, y'all, we got a lot of stuff ahead of us that we need to pay attention to going forward. And mainly to me, it's that quarterback position and the coaching. Look, Olave has been plagued with drops his whole career. I'm sorry to tell y'all, but Olave never wasn't the number one stud on a team. We tried to make him that, but he never wasn't the number one stud on the team. And if I had, if I were running the Saints organization, he would be the number one person on the trading block. Because he has probably the most value of any player on our team. Yet he not the number one dog that we thought he might have been when we drafted him. We thought that he might have been after his rookie season. Um, he's so far been pretty plagued with injuries his career. He hasn't had a super stellar career. I mean, if anybody gonna tell me that Olave is a tier one wide receiver, I would tell you out of your fucking mind. So, to me, he should be the trade um, before the deadline. He should be the trade before the deadline. Period. Him, um, I honestly would look at moving Alvin Kamara too. Don't get me wrong, y'all. I love Alvin Kamara. Um, I wouldn't be mad if he retired a Saint. I would love for him to retire a Saint. But in order to get the Saints football team to another level, he may need to be traded. Get some assets for him. He's probably the second top draft prospect on our team. You know, so we need to do something. We definitely need to do something, and it needs to be something big. It don't just need to be a fucking fourth round pick for Rashid Shaheed. We need to make a splash here. Anyway, man, that's my show for today. Like and subscribe to the channel, man. Share it with your friends. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Who y'all think should be the number one traded player? Who y'all think should be the move that the Saints make right now? What are y'all thinking about the draft? Anyway, I'm Sports Red Grant, man, and I'm out of here.